First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
A University of Florida student committed suicide Wednesday morning. It's Thursday, October 15th. I'm James Torres.
And I'm Jenna Sands. Thanks for joining us. The university is urging students to use campus resources to cope with the death of their peer. Taylor Anderson joins us now here in the studio. Taylor, right now, what resources is UF offering for students?
Well, the university has not only reached out to students, but they have also notified parents and faculty that they can use those resources as well. University of Florida students and staff are mourning today after the death of a UF student. In an email to parents and families, everyone is encouraged to seek help if needed. The University of Florida lost one of its students early Wednesday morning. UF parents and families were notified immediately of the loss. Students, family members, and staff are all being encouraged to seek help and assistance from the many resources on campus. University officials have been communicating with those affected through individual counseling and group therapy. One of these resources being used is You Matter, We Care, affiliated with the Dean of Students office. Families can use this organization to persuade students to get help if they feel they are being severely affected.
And so the message to the families is, here are these great helping resources at the University of Florida. We want your students to be safe. We care about them. Help us.
The university's Counseling and Wellness Center has played a big role so far in yesterday's event. Those who lived with him in the residence hall are all being offered therapy. Trained housing staff have been available around the clock to assist any student in need. If any student is in distress because of this loss or for any reason, the University of Florida urges them to make use of campus resources. You Matter, We Care is a 24/7 crisis counseling service and can be reached via email or by phone.
In Palatka, police are hoping for tips to solve a deadly shooting. 25-year-old Tony Williams Jr. was shot in the chest near the intersection of North 17th Street and Washington Street. Witnesses say it happened about 11:30 p.m. when several people approached Williams. Anyone with information is asked to call Palatka Police. Also in Putnam County, a man is accused of choking and punching his girlfriend. She eventually managed to escape and call for help. William Haney is charged with felony domestic violence, and he's being held without bond.
NOAA says this year's El Nino, one of the strongest on record, will shape our winter weather. The Climate Prediction Center released its 2015 winter forecast today. It highlights the impact of El Nino, a warm Pacific current, which tends to shape the tracks of winds and storms flowing across the country. A strong El Nino means Florida could see an increased change of rain and cooler temperatures during the winter. And weather here in North Central Florida has been extremely calm, and you might have had to grab a jacket this morning.
Yeah, I grabbed a light one myself this morning. UF forecaster Rebecca Kopelman is in the Weather Center. Rebecca, are we going to need jackets like this again tonight?
Native Floridians once again may need a jacket tonight, but can we just talk about how beautiful today was? I mean, the humidity was just so low. It was absolutely gorgeous. Not a cloud in the sky. That's how you can really tell there's not much moisture out there. The temperature right now over the University of Florida's campus, 85 degrees. At the airport, it's 83, still 87 in Cedar Key, 84 in Ocala. But I'm going to switch over to the dew points now. This is what controls the humidity and how it feels outside. And because that dew point temperature is so far from the actual temperature, well, that's why it feels so nice outside and so comfortable. Dew points are going to stay low, so that's going to allow our temperatures to fall tonight, and they'll fall rather quickly this evening. By 10 o'clock, already at 68 degrees, and will likely fall into the 50s once again this morning, or tomorrow morning rather. 55 degrees in Gainesville, 57 in Ocala, and 57 in Cedar Key. Definitely a night to get out and enjoy it. Back to you.
Thanks, Rebecca. An intersection in southeast Gainesville will be closed for the next few months.
That's right. A new roundabout is being built to help improve traffic flow in that area. WUFT's Marie Edinger joins us now in the newsroom. Now, Marie, you've learned that traffic circles don't exactly speed things up for everyone.
Right. I actually spoke with firefighters today. The general consensus among them was if you're a regular driver, you may like them, but if you're driving a fire truck, it can be a huge hassle. Now, many drivers like the faster flow of roundabouts compared to Gainesville's slow-paced traffic signals. But for those trying to save people in seconds on emergency calls, roundabouts are an unwanted delay.
Trying to maneuver around this thing without crashing.
Amanda, Matt, and Ryan are firefighters with Gainesville Fire Rescue. They say while traffic circles can keep cars moving along, for emergency response vehicles, they only slow things down.
In a personal vehicle, I would have to agree with them. It probably does keep a good steady flow, but in an emergency sense, it puts a lot of taxing and unwanted stress.
They say every second counts in an emergency.
You're trying to take a 44-foot long, 80,000-pound vehicle through a traffic circle that's made for a Honda Civic to go through. Sometimes things can get a little complicated.
But city planners are doing the best they can to keep everyone happy.
The city comes to us and they ask us, hey, let's make sure how this is going to work. Actually, we have to approve those plans. So they try to design it so that our fire trucks can go around those pretty smoothly.
So some of the newer roundabouts have a risen brick area that the fire trucks can drive over. It makes it a little bit easier to maneuver, but the old ones don't have that luxury. Gainesville city planners have been adding more roundabouts than ever before, like the one being built at Depot Ave and 6th Street. They move traffic through faster than four-way stops and are much cheaper to maintain.
Comparatively, it's a significant increase. And the office I work in, there's other people who do roundabout design as well. And I know that they've been involved in being asked to evaluate and also design additional roundabouts.
Most of the time, firefighters try to avoid routes with traffic circles altogether.
But it still takes more time than it would normally, and with response times being as important as they are, I mean, that time all adds up.
A project to add 3 roundabouts to Depot Avenue started last year. 2 are complete, but the one at 6th Street will take at least another 3 months to build.
Thank you, Marie. A community came together last night to pray for Benny Galicia. Benny was one of the 2 people killed in a small airplane crash in Lake Worth this week. The vigil in the Lake Worth High School auditorium was filled with friends and family. The service, held by Benny's church group, was dedicated to her life. Benny was killed Tuesday when a small airplane crashed into her bedroom at the Marmac Colony Club Mobile Home Park. And an accident in Broward County caused major delays on I-75 this morning. A tanker hauling chlorine and 2 other vehicles were involved in a crash. It took hours to free the truck driver from the cab of the tractor trailer, and all 3 drivers were taken to the hospital. Hazmat was quickly on the scene to check for any leaks, and another truck had to be brought in to offload the chlorine.
The University of Florida began the addition of 3 quotes to Heavener Hall. Students around the area may hear some chiseling over the next few weeks. Heavener Hall is adding 3 secular quotes to reach a compromise with the Freedom from Religion Coalition. That group filed a complaint asking to have a Bible verse removed from that building. A specialty stone carver from New Mexico has started chiseling one of the 3 quotes. Students can see her work under the archway that connect Heavener and Bryan Halls.
I think having quotes around the building makes it more unique and makes it stand out. Not all buildings around campus have quotes inscribed on them, so I actually think it's really cool that we have that here at Heavener. My personal thought on the Bible quote, I don't really think it's a huge issue. I think that if the quote makes sense, shouldn't really matter where it comes from, and if it makes sense in this area, then that's fine.
Now, the other 2 quotes have been stenciled and are ready to be chiseled. The 3 quotes come from Adam Smith, Aristotle, and Thomas Paine. The work should be completed in about 2 weeks, and despite the platform and work area, students are still able to get to class easily.
Protesters showed up at a Jewish rally for peace on the University of Florida campus today. Terrorist attacks in Israel have increased dramatically in the past few weeks, and Jewish student organizations gathered on campus to spread awareness of these attacks. But the UF Students for Justice in Palestine were also there to protest the Israeli occupation of Palestinian lands. Some say that a community effort will raise awareness about these attacks, but others say that people are not being properly informed.
Something about it. We're thousands of miles away, yet we want to do something. And we believe that the spiritual and the physical actions of every person around the world, and of course over here in Gainesville as well, can have an effect.
Freedom to pray and the freedom to rally and gather and express our voices. The Palestinians aren't given that right.
Rabbi Goldman says he was not surprised to see protesters at all. He says that Jews are still in exile, and this conflict has been around since the Old Testament.
Well, WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, some senior citizens are getting help on the road.
We'll have those health news stories and more after the break.
And the weather's been beautiful and comfortable lately. If you're wondering if it's going to last through the weekend, I'll let you know coming up after the break. Stay with us.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Vision loss is the first thing older drivers worry about.
But there are other things to check, and WUFT health reporter Danielle Prinz joined us more with that story.
You know, guys, when older people get behind the wheel, they're a little bit uncertain about just exactly what adjustments to make to their car. The good news is there are trained people who will walk you through those steps. So a free appointment at a car fit event can put you in the proper position for better control and safety. As drivers in Florida age, many seniors like Ocala's Jane Frost are going back to the basics.
It's a good thing to be reminded again about what you should be doing and adjustments you can make to make your driving safer.
To help with those adjustments is a team of volunteers, including an occupational therapist. They figure out how to fit the car to the driver, following a 12-step guide. Mirrors get tweaked, lights are checked, seats are raised, along with awareness.
That's the important thing. Yeah, it feels good.
I think there were some good suggestions. Yeah, I realized that I'm maybe sitting too far back from the car or too close. I think it was too close, so I made some adjustments, and I didn't even know how to. I didn't realize how you pumped it up or how you pumped it down to get higher and lower.
Programs such as CarFit aim to keep mature drivers on the road.
And they kind of, especially driving wise, get a bad rep, and it doesn't need to be that way because it's simple fixes.
But before those simple fixes are fixed, they are simple mistakes that make driving dangerous.
After Jane's CarFit assessment, I realized these were tips anybody could benefit from, such as the distance from you to your steering wheel. It should be no less than 10 inches. So to help you measure that, just hold up a piece of paper
and adjust your chest so you're about the length of the paper away from the wheel. Make sure the center of the wheel is at the height of your sternum, and make sure the ball of your foot can reach the pedal. Frost knows there are other factors like vision and hearing. She tries to limit her driving at night, but says CarFit can help older drivers stay on top of things.
I think it's pretty good for any age, really. More so, though, when you get older, because I don't know that everyone realizes, that they've had these changes, or they might realize it, but they don't want to face it.
Ocala Health sponsored today's CarFit session in Marion County, and other providers host them throughout the year. If you live in Gainesville, there's one next month at the Senior Rec Center, and you can make your reservation at carfit.org. New research could lead to artificial skin that provides a real sense of touch. Stanford scientists are designing plastic devices to mimic the skin's sensory receptors. These devices sense touch and then convert that sensation into electrical pulses to communicate with the brain. They were able to make the sensor more skin-like so that a single sensor could handle both gentle touch and a firm handshake. And they use plastic so the artificial skin can also stretch more like human skin. A drug being tested in Sweden shows some early promise in reducing alcohol cravings. The study of people with alcohol dependency compared a control group taking a placebo to the group taking the experimental drug. The drug is designed to normalize dopamine levels in the brain, so subjects were asked to try their favorite drink again after 2 weeks on the pills. Those on the real drug reported fewer cravings and less enjoyment of the first sip. Candy apples are a delicious staple of the fall season, but you might want to make them up fresh. Last year, a listeria outbreak blamed on prepackaged apples caused 7 people to die. It was a bit of a mystery since apples are normally acidic enough to kill bacteria, but researchers discovered the wooden sticks were the source of that contamination. They also found any bacteria on those sticks can multiply tremendously if you don't keep the entire package refrigerated. So this news was a little shocking to me because every candy shop that I've walked into has had these candy apples in a case, just sitting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I grew up, eating candy apples at room temperature was normal. I had no idea they were supposed to be refrigerated.
Yeah, and just like you said, I would always walk by and just see them in the display window, and they would grab it from there. I never thought you'd had to refrigerate them. That's
crazy.
Weird.
Thanks, Danielle. And for White Cane Safety Day, we sent a WUFT reporter to an awareness event in Hernando County.
That's right. Tanya Borsellino returned with this lesson on what's being done to help the visually impaired.
A white cane makes all the difference for someone like Kenny, who is visually impaired. Today, he's showing off his cane to raise awareness.
A lot of us that are using the cane, we can still see. We're not totally blind, but getting across the street, we might not be able to see the cars or the trucks unless they're real loud.
Florida law requires cars to come to a complete stop if they see someone walking with a white cane or guide dog.
A lot of the public, they have never had any sort of experience with somebody who has a white cane. So there they are on the corner, white cane law, what is that? Oh, you have to cross the street and you can't see me. Gotcha, perfect. That's what today's all about.
White Cane Safety Day urges people to try to appreciate what it's like to be blind.
Participants are able to be led by someone who is visually impaired as they cross the street. And as soon as they're ready and they sense that traffic has stopped, they put their blindfolds on, grab the arm of the person who is guiding them and start to walk, leaving it up to the rest of their senses to get them to the end of the road. Are we going? Oh!
Differences in the texture of the road also help guide the visually impaired to their destination when out walking. Though they're very capable of maneuvering through everyday life on their own,
How to use the computer. The computer talk to me.
Mayor of Brooksville recognizes more can be done to improve safety.
It's more easier if everything was on a parallel straight than to be catacornered on some corners and catacornered on another. So that gives us that opportunity to come back and look at downtown Brooksville to address that issue, to make things really straight.
This day is supposed to show you what it's like to not be able to see, but it has proven to be an eye-opening experience. Tanya Borsellino, WUFT News.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I would trust myself walking blindfolded across the street. But looking out there, they look like they had some beautiful weather. I mean, certainly nothing we can really complain about here.
Yeah, we haven't seen any rain for a while now, and who can complain? I'm definitely looking forward to more weather like this. But we do know one person who is complaining about it. Rebecca joins us now from the Weather Center. Rebecca?
Not really complaining, but it can get a little boring, I guess, to talk about the nothing that's going on, but it's nice. It's a beautiful weather pattern that's going on right now. Just feeling so comfortable outside, not even a cloud in the sky. So who can really complain? I won't complain too much. It's nice outside. I get to talk about it, and it's wonderful. 83 degrees outside right now in Gainesville, 84 in Ocala, and it's feeling so nice outside because of the dew points. Now, the further away this dew point is from the temperature, it makes it feel more comfortable. So 47 degrees right now is the dew point. That's so far away from that 83. That's why it feels so nice outside. And that's actually why our temperatures are going to be falling rather quickly this evening, because that dew point's so low, because our skies are so clear. It's going to allow our temperatures to fall quickly after sunset to 68 degrees by 10 o'clock, and we'll be down to near the 50 degree mark by 2 a.m. at 60 degrees there. Overall low temperatures across the area once again in the 50s, so you may need a jacket when you step outside and in the morning hours, just because, well, we're Floridians, of course. 55 degrees in Gainesville, 57 in Ocala, but you'll be able to shed it by the afternoon. That's because our daytime temperatures, they're still in the 80s, at least for the next couple of days. You might have seen that drop off right there. We have these temperatures in the 80s. Another front's going to come through though, and it's actually going to bring a little bit more cloud cover and some cooler temperatures once again. So our daytime highs for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are actually going to be below the 80 degree mark, a little bit below average for this time of year. And our rain chances, they're still staying low because there's not a lot of moisture out there right now, and that's not going to allow for any activity to really bubble up. So on Friday, temperatures still in the 80s, but the dew points stay low, so it's going to be feeling comfortable outside despite temperatures rising to the mid-80s, 85 in Gainesville and 86 in Lake City. It's because of all of this dry air that we've been talking about for these past couple of days that's here to stay in North Florida. You can see some of that moisture and tropical moisture creeping up into portions of South Florida. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't get the nice dry weather we've been having, but this is going to stay overhead and keep rain chances out of the forecast through this weekend. A front comes through tomorrow. You can hardly tell because there's nothing along it. There could be a few clouds that move through later on in the day tomorrow, and then we're going to have this flow that moves in out of the north and east. What that's going to do is bring in some more cloud cover and even bring the chance for rain. You can see these blobs here just off the first coast. I think they're going to be very spotty showers because there's not a lot of not a lot of moisture really. There's so much dry air. It's going to prevent any widespread activity, so there could be just a few showers along the coast on Monday afternoon, but those clouds are really what's going to be staying in overhead. But hey, if you're not staying here, you may be thinking about a road trip to Baton Rouge. Well, they're actually going to be a little warmer tomorrow than we are here, and then that same front will cool them off by Saturday and Sunday. Some nice football weather. Temperatures still in the 50s in the overnight hours there, so you may want a jacket if you're heading out to Louisiana. For us here in North Florida, temperatures gradually increasing in the overnight hours, and then we'll have that drop off on Sunday and Monday. The winds will even start to pick up on Sunday afternoon and Monday afternoon. Rain chances staying low really all the way through my 6th day, just a slight chance by Wednesday. Back to you.
Well, a huge difference between the highs and lows, and I love it. Rebecca, thank you. Well, there's a huge high school football game in town tonight.
That's right. District rivals Gainesville and Vanguard will meet at Citizens Field. WUFT sports anchor Connor Ingalls joins us now.
Yeah, the story heading into this game, how will Gainesville handle some big personnel losses after 3 key players were suspended earlier this week? We'll lean on WUFT high school football beat reporter Kaylee Glider to get us all caught up on what to expect tonight. We go out to Citizens Field where Kaylee is live coming up. That and more in sports after the break. High school football is reserved for those Friday night lights, but not so tonight. Welcome back to sports. I'm Connor Ingalls. A big district matchup out at Citizens Field tonight. The Gainesville Hurricanes will host the Vanguard Knights. After last week's loss to Buchholz, things have only gotten worse for the Canes. WUFT's Kaylee Glider joins us now from Citizens Field. Kaylee, fill us in on everything Gainesville is dealing with.
Yeah, Connor, Gainesville lost more than just a game last week. 3 seniors, quarterback Kalen Christian, running back Chris King, and wide receiver Kyle McGriff were all suspended for 6 weeks by the FHSAA for unsportsmanlike conduct following last Friday's Buchholz game at Citizens Field. Looking at this week, freshman Luke Matthews will start in his first ever game for the Hurricanes. Luke is the son of former Gator QB and current Buchholz assistant Shane Matthews.
Like there's a Luke, I'm your father joke to be made there, but I won't do it. It'd probably be pretty bad. Kaylee, what can the Canes expect to see on the field tonight against the Knights?
Well, Vanguard is led by quarterback Nkosi Perry, a recent University of Miami commit, along with wide receivers including big playmaker Darren Lake. Vanguard is coming off a bye week, which gives them some extra preparation as they're going to put up a tough fight for the Canes, who are looking to earn their 5th district title in 6 years. Reporting live from Citizens Field, Kaylee Glider, WUFT Sports.
And the Hurricanes aren't the only Gainesville team dealing with the loss of their starting quarterback. The Florida Gators, of course, are without Will Greer after his 1-year suspension for violating NCAA rules was announced on Monday. So as the Gators prepare to travel to Death Valley and take on the LSU Tigers in a top 10 matchup on Saturday, all eyes turn to Treon Harris. Harris started in week 1 for Florida and was in a tight race with Greer for the starting quarterback spot before Greer took the reins a few weeks back. Don't expect the pressure to be too much for Harris, though. He started 6 games for the Gators last year as a true freshman, including games against Georgia and at Florida State. In his limited snaps this season, Harris has thrown for 269 yards and 2 touchdowns while completing 19 of 27 passes. Good for a phenomenal 70% completion percentage. Harris and Florida kick off in Baton Rouge Saturday at 7 p.m. It's hard to even realize in the midst of such a crazy college football season, but basketball is creeping up on us just 3 weeks out from opening up the 2015-16 season. Gator basketball head coach Mike White is pleased with how his team is coming together.
We like our depth. We love the character of this team. They're really working, the competitiveness. Guys are really, they've really embraced our lack of communication and really trying to talk at a higher decibel level and talk a little bit more frequently to each other.
Florida tips off the season Thursday, November 5th in the O-Dome in an exhibition against Palm Beach Atlantic. 3 teams have played their way into the MLB League Championship Series, with the 4th and final spot being determined tonight between the Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Mets. Game 5 of the National League Division Series from L.A. The Dodgers forced this decisive game with their victory in Tuesday's Game 4. On the mound tonight, Zach Greinke will try to carry L.A. against New York's Jacob deGrom. First pitch is at 8. And James and Jenna, we looked at the stats a little bit. Some people down on Florida's chances against LSU with Treon Harris filling in for Greer, but Treon no slouch himself. What do you guys think?
I mean, he's played games before. He's played the game before. He's won big games. He's won against Georgia. He's not inexperienced. I mean, the guy might know what he's doing.
Yeah, and even though Florida's had one heck of a week with Florida's defense and with Louisiana's running back, it's going to be the game to watch this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. And when you spot a wild bear, it can be thrilling.
Or scary, depending on where exactly it is. Well, in eastern Russia, a bear broke into a shopping mall. This is a closed-circuit surveillance video showing the bear outside. Then inside the mall in the city of Khabarovsk, police were called by frightened mall employees, and the bear eventually broke through a glass door and was cornered at a children's playground where it was shot. A police spokeswoman said the bear had become too aggressive and had to be put down. Jenna, that's terrifying. I don't know if you've ever experienced a bear encounter before, but I don't think I want to.
I don't know, but I am glad that I was not there.
In Eastern Russia. Well, before we go, let's get one last check on the weather.
Here's Rebecca.
Definitely a beautiful night to get outside and enjoy it. Not a cloud in the sky, still feeling comfortable. Our temperature just 85 degrees, or 84 degrees rather, over the University of Florida's campus. And temperatures will be falling rather quickly tonight once the sun sets because of those clear skies, down to 75 by 8 o'clock, 68 by 10 p.m. And overall lows will actually be falling into the 50s across the area. So some of you native Floridians may need the jackets. 55 degrees in Gainesville, 57 in Ocala, 54 out in Lake City. The rest of the week, temperatures in the overnight hours will be increasing to near 60 degrees, and then we'll have a drop off with our daytime highs to near 80 degrees by Sunday and Monday after another front moves through. It's going to bring a few more clouds in and a nice breeze out of the east, maybe a little bit windy at times both Sunday and Monday, and rain chances even staying out of the forecast, just a slight chance returning by Wednesday afternoon. Back to you.
Rebecca, as much as I love you being happy, let me say I love the weather, so sorry if you're a little bored in the studio, but thank you, and we'll be back tomorrow at 5, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.
Yeah, and here on WFT TV, BBC World News is up next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7 o'clock. Have a good night.